Welcome to the Bootstrap Mogul Podcast, where we bring you the grassroots tips, tricks, and stories in everything entrepreneurship, digital marketing, and personal development. I'm your host, Andres Holguin. Well, hello there, Bootstrap Moguls. I'm your host, Andres Holguin, and I want to extend a warm welcome back to our show. As always, I'm thrilled that you're tuning in because we've got another powerful episode lined up for you today. Now, I know as ambitious entrepreneurs, we're all about action, getting our hands dirty, diving right into the business trenches. But here's the thing. Sometimes the most impactful actions happen before we even lift a finger. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Yes, we're shedding light on the incredibly important, yet often overlooked art and science of market research. Now, market research is all about getting to know your audience, understanding their needs, their desires, and their pain points. It's about discovering those golden nuggets of insights that can guide your business decisions, shape your products or services, and ultimately determine your success in the market. But how do we conduct effective market research? Like, what steps should we follow? What mistakes should we avoid? And are there any tools that we can leverage? And so that's exactly what we're going to delve into in today's episode. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to refine your existing business strategies, this episode is packed with insights and practical advice that will help you harness the power of market research. So get ready to listen, learn, and most importantly, take action. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the basics. What exactly is market research? Well, in its simplest form, market research is a process of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting information about a market, a product or service, and about your potential customers. It's kind of like detective work for your business because you're out there collecting clues, piecing together information about your industry, your competition, and the people that you aim to serve. So let's talk about the role and importance of market research. Okay, so picture this. You're about to launch a new product, but you're just kind of shooting in the dark, right? You have no idea whether people need or want your product or how much they'd be willing to pay for it or even what competitors offer similar products. That sounds like a recipe for total disaster, right? Well, that's where market research swoops in to save the day. It's like a flashlight that illuminates the path in front of you. Market research helps you to identify and understand who your target audience is, what are their needs, their preferences, and their behaviors. It also helps you to understand your competition and the environment within the market you're entering. But the question is, why should entrepreneurs or side hustlers prioritize market research? Now let's be real. Starting and running a business requires a whole lot of hard work, dedication, and resources, and it involves a lot of risks and uncertainties. But by conducting market research, you are minimizing that risk. You're arming yourself with valuable information that can help you make informed decisions about your products, pricing, the promotion, and how and where you're going to distribute. Now, how does market research contribute to success? Imagine understanding your customers so well that you know exactly what they want, how they want it, and when they want it. Sounds pretty powerful, doesn't it? Well, that's the power of market research. Now, through market research, you can identify opportunities in the market, create marketing strategies that are going to resonate with your target audience, and keep an eye on what your competitors are doing. It really helps you to identify the trends, anticipate changes, and stay ahead of the curve. It's like having a secret weapon that gives you that competitive edge. Also, let's not forget that market research can save you money in the long run. How? Well, because it ensures that your product or service aligns with your customers' needs and desires, so you're more likely to see a return on that investment. Now, I want you to pause for a moment and consider this. As an entrepreneur, wouldn't it be incredibly empowering to have all of this valuable information at your disposal? So that's why I'm such a huge advocate of market research. It's like a roadmap that guides you through your entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so that's the introduction to our market research. And I really hope you're as excited about this topic now as I am, because trust me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now, in this next segment, I'm going to dive into the evolution of market research in the digital age. And so there's so much more to discover. So let's continue our exciting exploration of market research. And this time, we're hopping into our time machine. We're going to trace how market research has evolved over time, particularly in this digital age that we live in. So, if we take a stroll down memory lane, market research in its early days was largely a manual, time-consuming process. Think like people with clipboards conducting face-to-face interviews or sending out paper surveys via snail mail. It was effective, but it was also slow and resource intensive. Now, fast forward to today, and the landscape of market research has been revolutionized by the digital age. With the advent of the internet and digital technologies, we now have a plethora of tools and techniques at our disposal, which make it so much more possible to gather and analyze data on a scale and at a speed that was unimaginable just a few decades ago. Now, if there's one term that's been on everyone's lips in recent years when it comes to digital evolution, it's big data. Now, big data refers to the enormous volume of data that's generated every second of every day thanks to our digital activities. So every time we make an online purchase, like a post on social media, or even use a fitness tracking app, we're contributing to this ocean of data. But what does the rise of big data mean for market research? Well, for starters, big data provides an unprecedented opportunity to gather richer and more detailed insights about consumers. So we're now able to analyze not just what consumers are buying, but also their browsing habits, their social media activity, and even their lifestyle preferences. It's a game changer that allows businesses to understand their customers on a far deeper level than ever before. Now, here comes the big question. How has technology transformed market research, and what opportunities does it present for modern business? Well, firstly, technology has made market research more accessible. Thanks to online surveys, social media analytics, and similar tools, even small businesses on tight budgets can conduct meaningful market research. Secondly, technology has made data collection faster and more efficient. So we can now collect data in real time and from a global audience, which allows for quicker decision making. Thirdly, advanced analytics tools powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning can help businesses not only analyze big data, but also predict future trends and behaviors, giving them a proactive edge. But it's essential to remember that while technology provides fantastic opportunities, it's also crucial to navigate the digital landscape responsibly. Businesses need to ensure they are collecting and using data ethically, they're respecting consumer privacy, and above all, maintaining trust. So, to all you entrepreneurs out there, embrace the power of digital technology in your market research. But remember, it's not about the volume of data you gather. It's about the insights that you extract from that data and how you apply those insights to deliver value to your customers. So with that, we are, kind of done talking about this deep dive into the evolution of market research in the digital age, and I hope it's been insightful for you. But now let's go ahead and talk about a case study where effective market research was in action and provided a huge value. So I hope you're ready to roll up your sleeves, because in this part, we are diving into the nitty-gritty, the process of conducting market research. So we're also going to be exploring some handy tools and common mistakes to avoid. So let's get started. First things first, you need to identify your research question. This is the question that you are seeking to answer through your market research. Now, maybe you want to know why sales of a certain product are declining, or perhaps you're trying to understand what features your customers would like in your next product. The research question serves as your North Star, which is guiding your entire market research process. Now, once you've identified your research question, the next step is to define your target audience. These are the people whose opinions and behaviors matter most to your business. They could be current customers, potential customers, or even past customers. Remember, the better you define your target audience, the more relevant and actionable your research results will be. The third step is to choose your research method. This could be surveys, interviews, focus groups, observations, or even experiments. The choice depends on your research question and the nature of the information that you're seeking. So for example, surveys might be great for gathering quantitative data on customer preferences, while interviews might be better suited for gaining deeper insights into customer attitudes and experiences. So now we're ready to move on to collecting and analyzing data. Here, you're going to gather responses from your target audience and then sift through the data to identify patterns, trends, and insights. It's kind of like mining for gold. You're digging through heaps of data to find those precious nuggets of information. And then finally, based on your findings, you draw conclusions and you make decisions. This is where you translate your insights into action. So maybe you decide to tweak your product features, or you revamp your marketing strategy, or you explore an entirely new market segment. Now, whatever the decision, it's backed by the valuable insights you've gained from your market research. Now, let's talk tools. There are countless tools out there to help you with your market research, and they're both free and paid. So for surveys, you could use tools like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms. For social media analytics, there's Hootsuite or Buffer or Later. For competitive research, there's SEMrush or SpyFu. The key is to choose a tool that fits your needs and your budget. Now, let's address some common mistakes in conducting market research. Now, one big mistake, and it's one that I always tend to run into myself as well, is not clearly defining my research question or target audience. This can lead to vague or irrelevant findings. Another common mistake is relying solely on secondary research or online data. Now, while these are valuable, they should be complemented with primary research to gain those firsthand insights. Finally, it's essential not to ignore negative feedback. It can be really hard to hear, but it's often the most valuable for improving your business. So to avoid these mistakes, always start with a clear plan. Know what you're looking for and who you're looking to understand. Use a mix of research methods and tools, and most importantly, be open to all feedback. Remember, market research is about uncovering the truth, not just validating what you already believe. Okay, so that's the process of market research in a nutshell. And I hope this gives you a good foundation to start your own market research journey. Because remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about learning, iterating, and continuously improving. So we've actually set aside some time for some common questions that listeners might have about market research. And let me just say, I love this part of the show because it reminds me of how engaged and proactive you all are. So keep those questions coming. You can send them to me on DMs on Instagram or send an email, whatever works for you. So here's our first question. How do I know when I've done enough market research? Well, that's a great question because it can be tempting to keep researching, especially when there's so much data out there. But the key is to remember why you started research in the first place, your research question. Now, once you've gathered enough information to answer that question confidently, then you can consider your research phase complete. Of course, market research isn't a one-time activity. It's good to revisit your research as, market conditions or your customer preferences or even your competition can change over time. Now, our next question is, what's the best way to motivate people to participate in my market research? And that's also an excellent question because there are several strategies to encourage participation. One effective method is to offer incentives. These could be discounts, gift cards, or access to exclusive content. Also, explain why their participation is valuable. Let them know how their feedback will help improve the product or service they use. People are more likely to participate if they understand the impact of their input. Next up is a question about how can I trust the accuracy of my market research results? So to ensure accuracy, it's crucial to use reliable sources and tools and ensure your sample size is statistically significant. So you want to cross-verify your data where possible and be wary of biases, both from the participants and your own. And remember, market research provides insights, but it's not a crystal ball. It should inform your decisions, not dictate them. Lastly, our other question is, can a small business with a limited budget still conduct meaningful market research? I'm so glad this question is being asked. The answer is a resounding yes. While having a big budget can be helpful, there are plenty of low-cost or even free tools and methods available. Things like online surveys, social media polls, and even just having conversations with your customers can yield invaluable insights. Now remember, the value lies not in how much you spend, but in how well you understand your customers' needs and expectations. So I hope those answers to those commonly asked questions about market research were helpful. And if you have any other questions as you're listening to this, like I said, feel free to DM me on Instagram at andresdoesbusiness, or you can also send me an email at info@flyroutedigital.com. Okay, so we're going to shift gears now for moving from theory to real world practice. Are you ready? Okay, it's time for us to explore a fascinating case study of effective market research in action. And the company we're going to look at is none other than Airbnb. Yes, the global vacation rental marketplace that we have all come to know and love. But before Airbnb became a household name, it was just another startup trying to figure out its market fit. Their initial idea was simple: provide a platform where people could rent out their couches to travelers to make some extra cash. But they hit a snag. The growth was slower than expected. And instead of just accepting the status quo, the founders of Airbnb decided to take a deep dive into that world of market research. So they started by identifying the research question: why wasn't their platform attracting as many users as they had anticipated? And from there, they defined their target audience, which were existing users of the platform, both hosts and travelers. For their research method, they opted for a mix of surveys and in-depth interviews. This enabled them to gather both quantitative and qualitative data, which they could then analyze to uncover meaningful insights. And the results were eye-opening. They discovered that many users found the site difficult to navigate, and the listing photos were often poor in quality. So this led to a lack of trust and hence a reluctance to use the platform. Armed with these insights, Airbnb immediately took action. They revamped their website to make it more user-friendly, and for the photo problem, they took an unusual step. They hired professional photographers to take high-quality photos of the listings. Now, this change was a game changer because almost overnight, the number of bookings increased significantly. And the rest, as they say, is history. So what lessons can new businesses, startups, established businesses alike learn from Airbnb's market research strategy? Well, firstly, never assume that you know your customers better than they know themselves. Conducting market research helps you get into the minds of your customers and understand their needs, preferences, and pain points. Secondly, be prepared to act on the findings from your market research, even if it means making big changes. Airbnb could have just ignored the feedback about their website design and poor quality photos, but instead, they took it as an opportunity to improve and provide a better experience for their users. Lastly, market research isn't a one and done thing. It's a continuous process. So as your business grows, your customers evolve, and market dynamics change, you need to keep doing market research to stay relevant and competitive. Okay, so there we have it, the story of Airbnb and how market research played a crucial role on their path to success. It just goes to show that whether you're a budding startup or an established business, effective market research can be your ticket to greater understanding and growth. Okay, so that's all for today's case study, but now we're going to move into, some other topics to kind of cover at the end and just summarize, right? So we're here now at the end of this episode, and I truly hope this deep dive into market research has shown you just how vital it is, no matter what stage your business is at. So to summarize, market research isn't just a box to tick. It's the compass that guides your business decisions. It helps you to answer important questions, understand your target audience, and align your offerings with their needs. And the process? It begins with a clear research question, defining your target audience, choosing the right research method, collecting and analyzing data, and finally, taking action based on your findings. Remember, it's an ongoing process, not a one-time task. And let's not forget the lessons we learned from Airbnb's story today, the importance of listening to your customers and acting on their feedback. It's what separates the great companies and the great businesses from the good ones. So next week, we're going to be switching gears a bit and exploring the world of branding. I know we've talked a little bit about it in the past, but we're going to really dive deep into what branding truly means and why it's so crucial for businesses and brands of all sizes. Now, I promise it's going to be a riveting discussion you won't want to miss. But before I sign off, I just want to say a big thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I appreciate you choosing to spend some of it with me. And remember, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like to have covered in the podcast, don't hesitate to reach out. You can DM me at AndresDoesBusiness on Instagram or send an email at info@flyroutedigital.com. Now, until next time, keep being awesome, keep learning, keep growing, and keep being the incredible Bootstrap Moguls that you are. Have a great week.